Your identity is the invisible force that determines every aspect of your reality. It's the lens through which you interpret experiences, the filter that decides what opportunities you notice, and a magnetic field that attracts matching circumstances. What if I told you that time isn't a highway you must travel mile by mile, but a playlist where you can skip directly to your favorite song? What if your biggest dreams aren't months or years away, but exist in a parallel reality that you can access right now? You're about to discover something that'll completely revolutionize how you think about manifestation, success, and getting what you want in life. Most people are unknowingly trapped in what I call the time prison, accepting that good things take time, that dreams require patience, and that rapid transformation is somehow unrealistic or even impossible. But here's what the manifestation gurus don't tell you. This belief in slow, linear progress is exactly what's keeping your desires at arm's length. Every time you think this will take months or I need to be patient, you're actually programming delays into your reality. You're subscribing to a version of physics that simply doesn't apply to consciousness and manifestation. Traditional manifestation teachings have it backwards. They focus on the future, visualizing what you want, setting intentions for tomorrow, creating vision boards for someday. This future-focused approach actually pushes your desires away from you, creating an energetic gap that time must fill. It's like trying to catch your own shadow by chasing it. The quantum field operates on completely different principles. In the realm of pure consciousness, where all manifestation begins, time isn't linear. Past, present, and future exist simultaneously. Every possible version of your life is happening right now, in parallel dimensions that are just as real as this one. Your job isn't to create your desires. They already exist. Your job is to shift into the timeline where you already have them. Throughout this audiobook, you'll master the quantum physics principles behind time manipulation. You'll learn specific techniques to collapse timelines and discover how to manifest your desires in days or weeks instead of months or years. You'll understand why some people seem to get everything they want effortlessly while others struggle for years without results. Most importantly, you'll develop the skills to consciously choose which version of reality you experience. This isn't wishful thinking or mystical nonsense. This is cutting-edge quantum science applied to manifestation in ways that most people never consider. By the end of our time together, you'll have a completely new relationship with time itself and the power to bring your desires into physical reality faster than you ever imagined possible. Chapter 1. Time is not what you think it is. Picture this. You're watching a movie on your phone, but instead of seeing smooth motion, you're actually looking at thousands of individual photographs flashing by so quickly that they create the illusion of movement. Each photo is slightly different from the last, but your brain connects them into one continuous experience. This is exactly how reality works, except instead of photos, you're shifting between billions of parallel versions of existence every single second. Einstein proved that time is relative. It moves differently depending on your perspective and state of consciousness. What science is just beginning to understand is that consciousness doesn't just observe reality, it actively selects which reality to experience. You're not moving through time. You're shifting between different versions of now. Think of it like this. Imagine reality as a massive library containing every book that could ever be written. Every possible story, every potential outcome, every version of your life exists on these shelves simultaneously. Traditional thinking suggests you must read these books in order, page by page, chapter by chapter. But consciousness can skip to any book, any page, any story at will. The quantum field doesn't recognize the word impossible. It only knows what is. In this moment, there's a version of reality where you already have everything you desire. There's a timeline where your dream relationship began last week. There's a parallel self who started that business 3 months ago, and it's already thriving. These aren't fantasies. They're actual realities existing in the quantum soup of infinite possibilities. But here's where most people get stuck. They think accessing these realities requires changing their external circumstances first. They believe they need to take certain actions, meet certain people, or wait for certain conditions before their desires can manifest. This linear thinking keeps them trapped in slow-motion manifestation. The truth is far more elegant and immediate. You don't need to change your external world to access a different timeline. You need to change which timeline you're consciously tuned into. This happens at the level of identity, belief, and feeling state. When you shift internally, your external reality has no choice but to catch up. Here's what's really happening in every moment. Your consciousness is making millions of micro-choices about which version of reality to experience. Most of these choices are unconscious, based on habitual thought patterns and emotional states. But once you understand this process, you can take conscious control of it. The concept of inevitable action changes everything. Instead of thinking, "I hope this happens," or "I'm working toward this goal," you shift into knowing that specific actions and results are inevitable because they've already occurred in the timeline you're aligning with. You stop pushing toward your desires and start allowing them to unfold naturally through you. This isn't about positive thinking or visualization. This is about recognizing that you're already shifting between realities constantly and learning to steer this process deliberately. Every thought, every emotion, every belief is a voting mechanism for which timeline becomes your experienced reality. Chapter 2. Dissolving the Chains of Linear Thinking. Sarah worked in corporate marketing for 8 years, dreaming of starting her own agency. Every time she imagined making the leap, her mind immediately calculated, "I'll need at least 18 months to save money, build a client base, and reduce the risk." This timeline felt reasonable, responsible, even necessary. But what Sarah didn't realize was that this very belief in needing 18 months was creating the exact conditions that would require 18 months. Your relationship with time is the invisible force that determines how quickly your manifestations appear. Most people carry unconscious programming about how long different types of changes should take. These aren't natural laws. They're learned limitations that become self-fulfilling prophecies. Society has trained us to expect delayed gratification in almost every area of life. We're told that good things come to those who wait, that overnight success is unrealistic, that slow and steady wins the race. While these concepts might apply to certain physical processes, they become manifestation blocks when applied to consciousness and creation. The difference between chronological time and manifestation time is crucial to understand. Chronological time is what clocks measure, the mechanical progression of seconds, minutes, and hours. Manifestation time operates by completely different rules. In manifestation time, decades of progress can happen in moments, while years can pass with no movement at all. You've experienced this yourself without realizing it. Think about a time when you had a sudden breakthrough, insight, or a life change that seemed to come out of nowhere. One day you were stuck in a particular situation, and the next day everything was different. The shift didn't take months or years. It happened in an instant. That's manifestation time at work. Here's the key insight. Manifestation time responds to consciousness, not effort. The speed of your results depends entirely on how aligned your inner state is with your desired outcome. When there's no internal resistance, no conflicting beliefs, no identity mismatches, manifestations can appear almost instantly. But when you hold beliefs like, "This will take time," or "I need to be patient," you're creating internal resistance that slows the manifestation process. You're essentially programming delays into your reality. The universe doesn't argue with your beliefs. It reflects them back to you as experience. Let's identify some common time-based limitations that might be operating in your subconscious mind. Do any of these sound familiar? Building a business takes years. Finding the right relationship requires meeting many people first. Losing weight is a gradual process. Learning new skills takes consistent practice over time. Financial abundance requires careful planning and patience. None of these statements are universally true. They're just widely accepted beliefs that create consistent experiences for people who hold them. But for every one of these beliefs, there are countless examples of people who experienced rapid, dramatic transformations that defied these timelines. To reprogram your time consciousness, start by questioning every assumption you have about how long things take. When you catch yourself thinking this will take months, pause and ask, according to who? Based on what law of physics? What if it could happen much faster? Begin practicing what I call timeline flexibility. Instead of committing to specific time frames for your desires, hold the energy of this could happen at any moment. This doesn't mean being impatient or desperate. It means staying open to rapid manifestation while remaining detached from exactly when things appear. Replace time-based affirmations with presence-based ones. Instead of, I will have financial freedom, try, I am naturally abundant. Instead of, I'm going to find my soulmate, use, I am loved and cherished. This subtle shift removes the time delay built into future tense language and brings your desires into the present moment where they can actually manifest. Chapter 3. Choosing your reality like a Netflix show. When you open Netflix, you don't see just one movie. You see thousands of options, all equally real, all equally accessible. You can watch a comedy, a thriller, a documentary, or a romantic drama. The choice is entirely yours, and your selection determines your experience for the next 2 hours. Reality works exactly the same way, except most people don't realize they have a remote control. Every desire you've ever had corresponds to a timeline where that desire is already fulfilled. The relationship you want? There's a reality where you're already in it. The career you dream about? There's a timeline where you're already living it. The financial freedom you seek? There's a version of reality where you've already achieved it. These aren't potential futures. They're existing realities running parallel to your current experience. The quantum field is like an infinite cosmic Netflix, with every possible storyline playing simultaneously. Your consciousness is the remote control that determines which channel you're tuned into. Understanding this changes everything about how you approach manifestation. Instead of trying to create your desires from scratch, you're simply shifting your awareness to the timeline where they already exist. Instead of working toward a goal, you're selecting a reality where that goal is already accomplished. Here's how to identify different timeline options for your desires. Take any goal you're currently working on and imagine it not as something you're trying to achieve, but as something that's already happened in a parallel reality. What does your life look like in that reality? How do you feel? What are you doing differently? How do others relate to you? The more specific and detailed you can get about this parallel reality, the easier it becomes to shift into it. This isn't visualization in the traditional sense. You're not imagining a future scenario. You're exploring an existing timeline and getting familiar with its unique characteristics. Some timelines manifest faster than others, and understanding why gives you tremendous power in your manifestation practice. Timelines with fewer variables and fewer people involved typically collapse more quickly. A timeline where you write a book by yourself might manifest faster than one where you start a business with multiple partners. A personal healing might happen more rapidly than changing a large organization. This doesn't mean you should only focus on simple manifestations. It means you can strategically choose which timelines to explore first, building momentum and confidence that supports bigger shifts later. Success in timeline jumping builds on itself. The role of choice in quantum jumping is more powerful than most people realize. Every decision you make is essentially a vote for which timeline becomes your reality. What you eat for breakfast, how you respond to challenges, what thoughts you entertain. All of these seemingly small choices are steering you towards specific versions of your life. This is why conscious choice making is so important. When you're aware that every decision is a timeline selector, you start making choices that align with your desired reality rather than your current circumstances. You ask yourself, what would the version of me who already has what I want choose in this moment? Here's a practical exercise to begin timeline selection consciously. Choose one desire that you'd like to manifest quickly. Close your eyes and imagine that this desire has already been fulfilled in a parallel reality. Feel into that timeline. What's different about your energy, your confidence, your daily routine, your relationships? Now, throughout your day, make choices from that timeline. If the successful version of you would respond to stress differently, respond that way. If the abundant version of you would make different purchasing decisions, make those decisions. If the healthy version of you would choose different foods, choose those foods. You're not pretending or faking it until you make it. You're authentically aligning with the timeline where your desires are already real. The more consistently you make choices from your desired timeline, the faster you shift into experiencing it as your primary reality. Chapter 4. Living from the end result. Maria wanted to buy her first home, but every time she looked at her bank account, panic set in. She didn't have enough for a down payment, her credit wasn't perfect, and the real estate market seemed impossible for first-time buyers. But then something shifted. Instead of focusing on what she lacked, Maria began living as if she was already a homeowner. She researched neighborhood schools, imagined decorating her future kitchen, and felt the pride of having her own key. 3 weeks later, a family friend mentioned they were selling their house and offered it to Maria with owner financing and a minimal down payment. The house wasn't even on the market yet. This is the power of living from the end result. When you shift from wanting something to knowing you already have it, the universe must rearrange itself to match your inner conviction. This isn't positive thinking or wishful hoping. It's quantum mechanics in action. The traditional manifestation approach keeps you trapped in a state of lack and longing. You visualize what you want because you don't have it. You affirm what you desire because it's missing from your life. You set goals because your current reality isn't good enough. Every one of these activities reinforces the gap between where you are and where you want to be. But consciousness doesn't respond to what you want. It responds to what you believe you already have. When you truly know something is already done, your subconscious mind begins operating from that assumption. It starts noticing opportunities that align with that reality. It guides you toward actions that support that outcome. It magnetizes people and circumstances that match that vibration. Understanding the automatic unfolding process is crucial here. Once you genuinely shift into the already done state, manifestation becomes effortless. You don't need to figure out how things will happen or force specific outcomes. Your job is simply to maintain the inner knowing that your desire is already fulfilled and let the universe handle the details. This is radically different from hoping or wishing. Hope implies uncertainty. You hope something will happen because you're not sure it will. Wishing suggests separation. You wish for something because you don't have it. But knowing transcends both hope and wishing. When you know something is already done, there's no anxiety, no desperate action, no need to convince yourself or anyone else. The difference is like knowing versus hoping that the sun will rise tomorrow. You don't hope the sun will rise. You don't wish for sunrise. You don't create vision boards about tomorrow's dawn. You simply know it will happen, and this knowing allows you to plan your day accordingly. This is the level of certainty you want to cultivate about your manifestations. Here are practical techniques for maintaining the already done state throughout your day. First, change your internal dialogue from future tense to past tense. Instead of thinking, I'm going to get promoted, think, I'm so grateful I got that promotion. Instead of, I will meet my soulmate, think, I love being in this amazing relationship. This subtle shift rewires your subconscious programming. Your mind can't tell the difference between a vividly imagined experience and a real one. When you consistently speak and think as if your desires have already happened, your brain begins treating them as accomplished facts rather than future possibilities. Second, embody the feelings of already having what you want. How would you feel if your manifestation appeared right now? Relieved? Excited? Peaceful? Grateful? Whatever the authentic emotion is, practice accessing that feeling regularly throughout your day. Don't wait for external circumstances to generate these feelings. Generate them first, and watch as circumstances align to match them. Third, make decisions from your desired outcome rather than your current situation. If you want financial abundance, make choices that someone who's already financially abundant would make. This doesn't mean spending money you don't have. It means choosing thoughts, attitudes, and actions that align with abundance rather than scarcity. Fourth, act as if your manifestation could appear at any moment, because it can. When you live in readiness rather than waiting, you signal to the universe that you're prepared to receive. Keep your energy open and expectant, like someone who knows good news is coming but doesn't know exactly when. The already done state isn't something you achieve once and maintain forever. It's a practice you return to again and again, especially when doubt or impatience tries to creep in. Each time you remember that your desire is already fulfilled in the quantum field, you strengthen the bridge between that reality and your current experience. Chapter 5. Remembering your future. David had been trying to launch his consulting business for 2 years. He'd taken courses, created business plans, and networked endlessly, but nothing seemed to click. Then he tried something different. Instead of planning for future success, he began remembering it. He would tell his friends about the amazing client meeting he had yesterday, describing it in vivid detail. He'd feel grateful for the successful launch that happened last month. Within 6 weeks, 3 clients approached him through referrals, and his business was not only launched but profitable. This is the power of past tense programming, one of the most effective but underutilized manifestation techniques. Your subconscious mind is incredibly powerful but surprisingly simple. It responds to information, not timestamps. When you consistently feed it detailed memories of achieving your goals, it begins operating as if those achievements have already occurred. Why is past tense more powerful than future tense? Because the past feels solid and real to your brain, while the future feels uncertain and changeable. When you say, "I will be successful," your mind hears, "not yet," and maintains the current state. But when you say, "I'm so grateful I achieved this success," your mind begins aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with someone who has already succeeded. This technique bypasses conscious resistance because you're not trying to convince yourself that something impossible will happen. You're simply remembering something that feels real and detailed. Your analytical mind relaxes because you're not making claims about the future. You're just recalling the past. Here are specific scripts for different types of manifestations. For career success, I'm still amazed by how perfectly everything fell into place when I got that promotion. The timing was absolutely perfect, and everyone was so supportive of my new role. Feel into the reality of this memory. What was your boss's expression when they offered you the position? How did you celebrate? What changed in your daily routine? For financial manifestation, I remember the exact moment I realized I was financially free. It wasn't dramatic or stressful. It was actually quite peaceful. I just knew that money would never be a worry again. Experience the security and relief of this realization. What does financial freedom feel like in your body? How do you move through the world differently when money isn't a concern? For relationships, meeting my partner was the most natural thing in the world. It's funny how we were both ready at exactly the right time, and everything just flowed so easily. Feel the warmth and connection of this established relationship. What do you love most about your partner? How do they make you laugh? What's your favorite way to spend time together? For health and healing. My energy levels are incredible now compared to how I used to feel. I'm so grateful my body healed completely, and I feel stronger than ever. Experience this vitality and wellness. How does it feel to wake up energized? What activities do you enjoy with your renewed health? How do others comment on your transformation? Creating vivid memories of achieving your goals requires engaging all your senses and emotions. The more detailed and specific these memories become, the more real they feel to your subconscious. Include not just what happened, but how it felt, who was there, what you noticed, and how your life changed as a result. Practice this technique daily, but keep it natural and believable to yourself. You're not trying to create false memories or convince yourself that things have happened when they haven't. You're exploring what the achievement of your goals would feel like and allowing that energy to become familiar and accessible. The key is emotional authenticity. If a particular memory feels forced or fake, adjust it until it resonates. Sometimes the first version of a goal you imagine isn't the one that feels most natural to embody. Keep refining your vision until you can easily access the feelings of already having achieved it. Use this technique, especially during the moments when doubt creeps in. When you catch yourself thinking, "What if this never happens?" Immediately shift to remembering how grateful you are that it already did happen. This redirects your mental energy from lack and worry to appreciation and certainty. Remember, you're not lying to yourself or engaging in self-deception. You're tapping into quantum possibilities that already exist and making them more accessible to your conscious experience. Every time you practice remembering your future, you're strengthening the neural pathways that will guide you toward making that future your present reality. Chapter 6. Becoming Who You Need to Be. Jessica had been trying to manifest her dream business for 3 years. She'd visualized, affirmed, and created countless vision boards, but nothing seemed to stick. Then one day, her mentor asked her a simple question. "Who are you being while you wait for this business to appear?" Jessica realized she'd been operating from the identity of someone trying to become an entrepreneur rather than simply being an entrepreneur. The moment she shifted her internal identity, opportunities began flooding in. Within 2 months, she had her first paying clients and a waiting list. Your identity is the invisible force that determines every aspect of your reality. It's the lens through which you interpret experiences, the filter that decides what opportunities you notice, and a magnetic field that attracts matching circumstances. When you identify as someone who struggles financially, you'll unconsciously create evidence to support that identity. When you embody the identity of someone who's naturally abundant, abundance becomes your default experience. Most people try to change their external circumstances while maintaining the same internal identity. This creates what I call identity resistance, a constant tug-of-war between who you're being and what you're trying to manifest. Your subconscious mind will always choose identity consistency over temporary manifestations. If your desire doesn't match your identity, your mind will find ways to reject or sabotage what you've manifested. Rigid identity creates manifestation blocks because it limits your range of possibilities. When you see yourself as not a money person or unlucky in love, you're essentially programming boundaries around what you can receive. These identity walls become invisible barriers that prevent timelines where you're wealthy or deeply loved from becoming accessible to your consciousness. The key to rapid manifestation lies in identity flexibility. Instead of identifying with fixed characteristics, start seeing yourself as a multidimensional being capable of embodying whatever qualities serve your highest good. You're not just one thing. You're a conscious entity with access to unlimited aspects of expression. Here's how to practice flexible identity shifting. First, identify the core identity you currently hold around your desire. If you want financial abundance, notice how you complete the sentence, "I am someone who," in relation to money. Then ask yourself, what identity would someone who already has what I want embody? How do they think, feel, and move through the world? Begin each day by consciously choosing which aspect of yourself to embody. If you want to manifest a leadership role, spend your morning embodying the identity of a natural leader. How would a leader handle your email? How would they approach meetings? How would they carry themselves? Don't wait for external validation to give yourself permission to be this person. Claim the identity now. Your multidimensional nature means you have access to infinite versions of yourself across different timelines. The version of you who's already successful isn't separate from who you are. It's another facet of your consciousness that you can choose to express. When you embrace this multidimensionality, you stop trying to become someone new and start remembering who you already are in expanded form. Fear of rapid change often keeps people locked in limited identities. There's something comfortable about the familiar, even when it's unsatisfying. Your ego might resist identity shifting because it fears losing control or becoming unrecognizable. But transformation doesn't mean losing yourself. It means revealing more of who you truly are beneath the layers of conditioning and limitation. Practice identity shifting gradually if the fear feels overwhelming. Start with small adjustments to how you see yourself. Then build momentum as you become more comfortable with change. Remember that identity is fluid. You're not betraying your true self by evolving. You're honoring your infinite potential. The most powerful identity shift happens when you stop trying to become the person who has what you want and start recognizing that you already are that person, just in a different expression. Your desired reality isn't waiting for you to become worthy of it. It's waiting for you to remember that you already are. Chapitre 7, Manifestation en stéroïdes. When Maria wanted to manifest her book deal, she didn't just visualize. She created a vision board featuring her book on bestseller lists, wrote daily gratitude entries about her successful publishing journey, recorded affirmations about being a published author, and even designed a mock book cover. 3 different publishers reached out to her within 6 weeks. The layering of multiple techniques created a manifestation momentum that would have taken months using any single method alone. The layering technique multiplies your manifestation power by engaging multiple levels of your energy field simultaneously. Instead of relying on one approach, you create a symphony of aligned vibrations that accelerate your results exponentially. This isn't about doing more work. It's about creating strategic synergy between complementary practices. Think of your energy field like a radio with multiple frequency bands. Vision boards work primarily on your visual cortex and emotional body. Affirmations program your subconscious mind through repetition. Visualization engages your imagination and feeling states. When you layer these techniques, you're broadcasting your desire on multiple channels at once, creating a stronger, clearer signal that the universe can't ignore. The science behind multimodal manifestation involves what neuroscientists call cross-sensory encoding. When you engage multiple senses and cognitive processes around the same intention, you create more neural pathways leading to the same destination. This redundancy makes your desired outcome feel more real and accessible to your brain, which translates into faster manifestation. Here's how to layer effectively. Start with your vision board as your visual anchor. Include images that represent not just what you want, but how you'll feel when you have it. Next, write present tense affirmations that describe your manifestation as already complete. Record these affirmations in your own voice and listen while looking at your vision board. Finally, close your eyes and visualize yourself living in the reality depicted on your board while your recorded affirmations play in the background. This creates what I call a manifestation stack. Multiple techniques reinforcing the same energetic frequency. Your visual cortex is activated by the images, your auditory processing centers are engaged by the affirmations, your emotional body is stimulated by the feelings, and your imagination is creating detailed mental movies. All of these processes are pointing toward the same outcome. Advanced layering includes incorporating physical actions that align with your desired identity. If you're manifesting a promotion, layer your visualization with dressing for the role you want. If you're calling in a relationship, combine your affirmations with preparing your space for a partner. These physical actions create tangible evidence that supports your internal work. The key to successful layering is consistency rather than intensity. 15 minutes of daily layered practice will outperform 3 hours of sporadic single technique work. Your subconscious mind responds to repetitive patterns, not occasional bursts of effort. Create a simple routine you can maintain rather than an elaborate system you'll abandon. Real-world examples of successful layering include entrepreneurs who visualize their business success while listening to abundance affirmations and taking daily actions toward their goals. Writers who create vision boards of their published books while writing daily pages and affirming their identity as successful authors. People who've manifested dream homes by combining visualization, gratitude practices, and practical preparation like improving their credit scores. The beauty of layering is that each technique amplifies the others. Your vision board makes your affirmations more vivid. Your affirmations make your visualizations feel more real. Your visualizations give emotional power to your vision board. This compound effect accelerates manifestation by creating what feels like inevitable momentum toward your desired outcome. Remember to keep your layers aligned with the same core intention. Don't layer techniques for different goals simultaneously. This dilutes your focus and confuses your subconscious programming. Choose one primary manifestation and layer multiple approaches to that single outcome for maximum effectiveness. Chapter 8. Bringing Dreams Down to Earth. David desperately wanted to work for a specific tech company. He checked their website daily, obsess over every job posting, and fantasize about how amazing his life would be once he got hired there. The more he wanted it, the further away it seemed to get. After 6 months of rejection emails, he decided to take the company off its pedestal. He started appreciating his current job, exploring other opportunities, and treating his dream company as just one of many possibilities. 2 weeks later, they called him for an interview. The position wasn't even posted yet. When you place your desires on too high a pedestal, you create energetic distance that actually repels what you want. This happens because desperation carries the vibration of lack, and lack attracts more lack. The universe responds to your dominant feeling about your desire, not your mental wanting. If your wanting feels desperate, anxious, or needy, you're broadcasting the wrong frequency entirely. The pedestal effect occurs when you make your happiness conditional on achieving a specific outcome. You tell yourself, "I'll only be happy when I have this," or "My life won't be complete without that." This creates what energy workers call attachment distortion. You become so focused on the gap between where you are and where you want to be that you energetically push your desire away from you. Desperation repels because it's the energy of chasing rather than attracting. When you chase something, it naturally runs away. When you relax into magnetic attraction, things come to you with ease. The difference isn't in your actions, but in your underlying energy. You can take the same practical steps toward your goal from either desperation or ease, and the energy behind your actions determines your results. The energy of struggle tells the universe this is hard to get, and I don't deserve this easily. These beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies that create unnecessary obstacles and delays. Struggle energy also makes you miss opportunities because you're so focused on forcing specific outcomes that you overlook easier paths to the same destination. Ease energy, on the other hand, communicates this flows naturally to me, and I'm open to receiving in whatever form serves my highest good. This openness allows the universe to deliver your desires through the path of least resistance, often in ways that exceed your original expectations. To maintain desire without desperation, practice what I call passionate detachment. Stay excited about your goals while remaining unattached to exactly how or when they manifest. Think of it like ordering food at a restaurant. You care about getting a delicious meal, but you don't frantically worry about exactly which ingredients the chef uses or the precise timing of each cooking step. Here's how to bring your desires down from the pedestal. First, list everything you love about your current life that's completely unrelated to your manifestation. This shifts you out of lack and into appreciation for what's already working. Next, imagine 3 different ways your desire could manifest, including some you haven't considered before. This flexibility reduces attachment to specific outcomes. Practice gratitude for your desire as if it's already yours, but also cultivate genuine appreciation for the journey of manifesting it. Thank the universe for orchestrating the perfect timing and circumstances for your manifestation. This grateful anticipation feels completely different from desperate waiting. Balance appreciation with accessibility by treating your desires as natural extensions of who you're becoming rather than distant dreams you might never reach. If you want financial abundance, focus on appreciating the abundance that's already present in your life, your health, relationships, opportunities, even your ability to dream of more wealth. Make peace with the possibility that your desire might manifest differently than you expect. Sometimes what we think we want is actually a symbol for something deeper we're seeking. When you're open to the essence of your desire rather than its specific form, you allow the universe to surprise you with even better outcomes. The goal isn't to become indifferent about your desires. is to want them from a place of joyful anticipation rather than anxious need. When your desires feel inevitable rather than impossible, you've successfully removed them from the pedestal and made them energetically accessible. Chapter 9. Getting comfortable with quantum leaps. Sarah had been gradually building her online business for 2 years when suddenly everything exploded. In 1 week, she was featured in 3 major publications, gained thousands of new followers, and received more client inquiries than she'd ever had. But instead of celebrating, she felt terrified. The rapid success triggered every fear she had about being visible, successful, and potentially disappointing people. She almost sabotaged the momentum by turning down opportunities and hiding from the spotlight. Fear of rapid change is one of the most common unconscious blocks to fast manifestation. Your logical mind wants quick results, but your primitive brain interprets sudden change as potential danger. This creates internal resistance that slows down or even reverses your manifestation progress. Learning to become comfortable with quantum leaps is essential for timeline collapse. Many people unknowingly fear success because success brings increased visibility, responsibility, and expectations. There's a part of you that might worry. What if I can't handle the pressure? What if people discover I'm not as capable as I appear? What if success changes me in ways I don't like? These subconscious fears create what psychologists call upper limit problems, self-imposed ceilings on how much success you'll allow yourself to experience. We sometimes sabotage our own manifestations because staying stuck feels safer than facing the unknown territory of having what we want. Your current problems, though unpleasant, are familiar. You know how to handle financial stress, relationship difficulties, or career dissatisfaction because you've been managing them for years. But success? That's uncharted territory that might require you to become someone new. Self-sabotage shows up in subtle ways during manifestation. You might procrastinate on opportunities, pick fights with potential partners, make impulsive financial decisions that set you back, or find reasons to reject good things that come your way. These behaviors aren't character flaws. They're protective mechanisms from a part of you that's trying to keep you safe by maintaining the status quo. Preparing energetically for quantum leaps involves expanding your comfort zone gradually while building confidence in your ability to handle rapid change. Start by celebrating small victories and acknowledging your resilience in past situations. Remind yourself of times when you successfully adapted to unexpected changes, even if they initially felt overwhelming. Practice what I call success rehearsal. Mentally walk through what your life will look like after your manifestation appears. How will you spend your time? Who will you interact with? What new challenges might arise? And how will you handle them? This mental preparation helps your nervous system become familiar with success before it arrives. Address concerns about others' reactions by remembering that other people's opinions are about their own limitations, not yours. Some friends might feel threatened by your success because it challenges their beliefs about what's possible. Some family members might worry that you're changing too much or moving beyond them. These reactions are normal and temporary. Prepare responses for common reactions to your success. Practice graciously accepting compliments instead of deflecting them. Plan how you'll handle increased attention or requests for your time. Decide in advance how you'll maintain important relationships while honoring your new circumstances. This preparation reduces anxiety about social changes that come with success. Build a support system of people who celebrate your growth rather than fear it. Surround yourself with others who are also expanding, creating, and manifesting. Their excitement about your success will reinforce your comfort with rapid positive change. Distance yourself from people who consistently discourage your dreams or make you feel guilty for wanting more. Remember that quantum leaps often feel disorienting at first, even when they're exactly what you wanted. Your identity needs time to catch up with your new circumstances. Be patient with yourself during adjustment periods. What feels overwhelming initially will become your new normal as you integrate the changes. The key to embracing rapid manifestation is trusting your ability to handle whatever comes with your desired outcomes. You wouldn't have the capacity to want something if you didn't also have the capacity to manage it successfully. Your desires are perfectly matched to your soul's expansion plan. Chapter 10. Your Timeline Collapse Action Plan. Everything you've learned about timeline manipulation means nothing without consistent implementation. Knowledge without application is just intellectual entertainment. The difference between people who occasionally manifest and those who live in a state of continuous conscious creation lies in their daily practices. This chapter gives you a complete system for integrating timeline collapse into your everyday life. Your morning routine sets the energetic tone for your entire day. Within the first 30 minutes of waking, before you check your phone or engage with external demands, spend 15 minutes aligning with your desired timeline. Look at your vision board while listening to your recorded affirmations. Feel into the reality where your manifestations have already occurred. Write 3 sentences in past tense about your desires as accomplished facts. Throughout your day, practice microalignments. When you catch yourself thinking from your current circumstances instead of your desired reality, pause and ask, how would the version of me who already has this handle this situation? Make that choice. When you feel impatient about timing, remind yourself that your desire is already done and you're simply allowing it to unfold in perfect timing. Evening practices anchor your day's energy work. Before sleep, review your day from the perspective of your future self. Thank the universe for orchestrating the perfect circumstances for your manifestations. Release any attachment to how or when things will appear. Fall asleep feeling grateful for what's already accomplished in the quantum field. Recognizing successful timeline shifts requires developing sensitivity to subtle energy changes. You might notice synchronicities increasing, meaningful coincidences that seem to point toward your desired outcome. Numbers, symbols, or references related to your manifestation might appear repeatedly. People might start treating you differently without any obvious reason. Physical sensations can signal timeline movement. Some people experience tingling sensations, energy shifts in their body, or sudden changes in their emotional state. You might feel inexplicably excited or peaceful about your manifestation, as if something has shifted even though nothing appears different externally. Dreams often reflect timeline transitions. You might dream about already having your manifestation or receive symbolic messages related to your desired outcome. Pay attention to recurring dream themes, especially those that feel prophetic or particularly vivid. External confirmation includes unexpected opportunities appearing, people mentioning topics related to your manifestation, or circumstances aligning in ways that support your desired outcome. Sometimes you'll notice that obstacles that seemed insurmountable suddenly resolve themselves effortlessly. Troubleshooting common obstacles begins with identifying where resistance typically shows up for you. Do you doubt most strongly in the morning when you wake up? Does impatience hit during specific times of day? Do certain people or situations trigger your limiting beliefs? Once you know your patterns, you can prepare countermeasures. When doubt arises, return to your past tense memories of achieving your goals. Feel into those successful timelines until doubt dissolves into knowing. When impatience surfaces, remind yourself that timeline collapse isn't about forcing faster results. It's about aligning with realities where your desires already exist. If manifestations appear but then disappear, examine your worthiness beliefs and identity consistency. You might be manifesting from one part of your consciousness while self-sabotaging from another. Strengthen your identity work and practice receiving what you've called in. Maintaining momentum requires treating manifestation as a lifestyle rather than a temporary practice. Like physical fitness, manifestation requires consistent maintenance to stay strong. Build your practices into existing routines rather than trying to create entirely new schedules. Track your progress through journaling, noting both internal shifts and external changes. Celebrate small wins along the way rather than waiting for complete manifestation to acknowledge your success. This positive reinforcement keeps your energy high and your focus clear. Most importantly, trust the process even when you can't see immediate results. Timeline collapse often happens in quantum jumps rather than gradual progressions. Your consistent practice is building momentum that will eventually reach a tipping point where rapid manifestation becomes your natural state. Your new relationship with time. You just learned that time isn't the fixed, linear experience you were taught to believe it is. Time is malleable, responsive to consciousness, and completely under your influence when you understand how to work with it consciously. This fundamental shift in perspective changes everything about how you approach manifestation and life itself. Your beliefs about time create your manifestation speed more than any other factor. When you believe things take time, they do. When you believe rapid transformation is possible, it becomes available to you. The universe doesn't argue with your assumptions about timing. It simply provides experiences that match your expectations. Past tense programming and identity shifting are the game changers that separate occasional manifestors from conscious creators. By remembering your future and embodying the identity of someone who already has what you want, you bypass the delays that keep most people waiting for their desires. These techniques work because they align your consciousness with timelines where your manifestations are already accomplished facts. Layering techniques compound your manifestation power by engaging multiple aspects of your awareness simultaneously. When you combine vision boards, affirmations, visualization, and aligned action, you create momentum that feels unstoppable. This isn't about working harder. It's about working with the quantum field more intelligently. The key insight that ties everything together is this: your desired reality already exists. You're not creating something new. You're selecting which existing timeline to experience. This selection happens through your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, identity, and actions. Every moment offers you the opportunity to choose which version of reality becomes your lived experience. Start with one technique from this audiobook today. Choose the concept that resonated most strongly with you, whether it's past tense programming, identity shifting, the layering technique, or removing your desires from pedestals. Implement this chosen technique for the next 7 days while maintaining the knowing that your desires are already done. Don't try to apply everything at once. Manifestation mastery comes through consistent practice of simple techniques rather than sporadic attempts at complex systems. Build momentum with one approach, then gradually layer in additional methods as they become natural and automatic. Remember that collapsing time isn't about forcing or rushing. It's about aligning with the reality where your desires already exist and allowing that timeline to unfold naturally through your conscious choices. Trust the process, maintain your alignment, and prepare to be amazed by how quickly your reality can transform when you're no longer fighting against the flow of time. Thank you for joining me on this journey into the quantum nature of reality and manifestation. If this audiobook has shifted your perspective on what's possible, please subscribe to Audiobook's library for more consciousness-expanding content delivered daily. Until then, remember, your desired reality is not in the future. It exists now. You're simply choosing to experience it.